Yeah, good day everyone. Today we'll be discussing the forms and structure of prose, and it's an important aspect of literature. And this topic is central to understanding how various forms of writing are structured, and how elements within them work together and create compelling narratives. So, prose refers to the ordinary language we use in writing and speaking without any metrical structure, as I said in the previous class. So, as opposed to poetry, prose actually involves written stories or written written stories. Simply said, so it involves written stories, and these stories are usually written in ordinary language. So, and they don't follow poetic structure. So they don't follow particular rhythm or meter. So, in literature, prose encompasses a wide range of forms that differ in length, style, and content, from short stories to long novels. So, by the end of this lesson, we will have a solid grasp of the different forms of prose, how they are structured, and why this understanding is crucial to both writers and readers. So, now we have types of prose or forms or types of prose. So, let's begin with the different types of prose. So, these forms are important because they help to define how a writer conveys their ideas and how a reader experiences the story. So, number one we have here is short story. So, a short story is a brief narrative. It's usually under the range of 7,500 words, and it's a compact form with one main conflict or event. Short stories are typically focused on a single plot, and this single plot allows for concentrated narratives that leaves a strong impression in a short time. So the next we have is novels. So a novel is a much longer or much complex work that generally consists of 50,000 words and above. So it explores multiple plots, characters, and also multiple themes. So novels are often broken into chapters, and this allows for intricate development and detailed storytelling. So the longer the length, the longer it allows for character development and also exploration of deeper themes. So the next type of prose is novella, and novella is a medium length prose, and typically within the range of 15,000 to 40,000 words, and it's between short stories and long novels. So it's like the intermediate between short stories and novels. So novella still retains focus on a single narrative, but it has more room for character development, and its detailed description makes it differ from novel. So it has more detailed description than short story, but not as detailed as normal novel. So it's concise in comparison to full-length novels. So the next type or next form of prose. So we're not talking about prose fiction. In previous lesson we talked about prose fiction, and we said that just these three types: short stories, novels, and novella. But now we are going to prose. So we have under prose generally we have um, another type or another form that is known as memoir. Memoir. So this memoir is a non-fiction genre that focuses on personal experience. So this one was not mentioned in the previous lesson when we talked about prose fiction, because this one is actually a non-fiction. So it's a non-fiction genre that focuses on personal experiences, unlike an autobiography which covers an entire life. Memoirs are usually focused on specific moments or periods in a person's life. So like periods such as the period of grief, success, or transformation. So memoirs are often often provide a more intimate and emotional look at the author's life. So as I was saying, The next one after that is not a fiction is biography. So it's actually a prose, but not a fictional prose. So the next is a biography. So it's the I can say it's the opposite of a of a memoir somehow. So a biography is the story of someone's life written by another person. So that's the major distinguishing factor of a biography. It's a story of someone's life, but written by someone else. So it offers insight into the subject's life, and it often explores their achievements, struggles, and influences. So biographies are typically factual and they are done from detailed research. You would have done research, like proper research, before you write a biography of someone. So another form or type of prose is essay. So essay is also a non-fiction work that presents an argument or viewpoint on a specific topic. I believe essay we are more popular or we are more familiar with essays. So essays are often used to persuade, to inform, or even reflect, and they can vary greatly in styles from academical to personal essays. So another another type of prose is diary. So we have diary or journal. So this is another type of prose. So in diaries or journals, they are um, typically typically known to be personal reflection that is written by a particular individual. They are personal reflections that are written by a particular individual, and they are often private most of the time, but journals sometimes are usually published. So diaries could be private, like strictly private, like all those um, my diary that people write. So that's a form, but when it's now journal, it's kind of published sometimes because journals are different from diaries. But diaries, they are known for them not to be published, but journals, they are known to be published. So they can be a powerful way of capturing a person's thoughts or emotions over time. They are less structured than most prose form, and they tend to focus more on the author's personal perspective and his experiences. So now let's move to the next in our order, which is going to be plot structure. So plot structure is an essential is essential to understand how stories are being organized, because it's just like giving the pattern, or would I say the skeleton of each prose. So plot refers to the sequence of events that makes up a story. So it's the framework that guides the narrative from the introduction of the characters and the setting to the resolution of the conflict. So let me try to break it down into the key elements of a plot. So first off, we have an exposition. So this is the beginning story. It's the beginning story. So it's like the beginning of the story where the settings, the characters, and the background informations are introduced. So the exposition helps to establish the world of the story and provides the necessary context for understanding the unfolding event. Another part of or the next part of a plot structure is the rise in action. So this is the phase where the conflict in the story is introduced and it begins to build. It's the portion where they start to build up the conflicts that the story is actually about. So it's characterized by a series of events that increases tension and suspense. So the rise in action kind of leads to the turning point of the story, drawing the reader deeper into the story and making them eager to know what would happen next. So they're like the portion where it's like the magnets of every prose or story. So next part of a plot structure is the climax. So the climax is actually the turning point of the story. It's the moment of greatest tension. It's the moment of greatest tension. It's the moment of greatest tension, and it's the point where the main conflict reaches its peak and begins to move towards the resolution. So it's that highest, like where everything seems like they built up like full force. The whole story has gotten to its peak. So this is often the most intense and most exciting part of the story, and It's the point where characters face their biggest challenges. So next is going to be the falling action. So the falling action happens after the climax, and it consists of the events that follows the turning point, and it begins to resolve conflicts. So the falling action shows the aftermath of the um, the climax, and it moves the story towards the conclusion. So the falling action is more like, okay, after they've raised all your hopes up, the next thing is now they start resolving everything, start making you understand how everything then played out. So the resolution is the next portion after the falling action. So the resolution is the conclusion of the story where all the conflicts have been resolved and the narrative becomes to satisfy the end. So the resolution is more like the end of every story, and it's where loose ends are being tied up and the story reaches a closure. So the sequence of events is often represented by what is known as the Freytag's pyramid. Usually represented by what is known as the Freytag's pyramid. So this pyramid is known to map the story's progression from exposition to resolution, and understanding this structure is kind of like the key to analyzing and writing compelling stories. So next, let's move to paragraphs in prose. Paragraphs in prose. So let's see. A paragraph, has by definition, is the fundamental unit of prose writing. It's the fundamental unit of prose writing. So it's essentially a collection of sentences that expresses a single idea. So I think this one should have been hammered during secondary school learning. They said every paragraph should have a single idea. This is the ideal structure of every paragraph. It should have just a single idea or a single event or a single development. So in prose, paragraphs, they play a crucial role in organizing the narrative and enhancing the readability of each prose. So here is why they are important. First off, one of the reasons why paragraphs are important is because they are kind of like like organizers. They are like used for organizing the narratives. So each paragraph will try to help you break down the story or argument into manageable chunks, making it easier for us, the reader, to follow. So as well, a properly organized paragraph structure can guide the reader through the event of the story and can help them provide clear transition between ideas or actions. So this is like one of the major importance of paragraphs. So they help to organize the narrative of the story. So next is that paragraphs helps to build rhythm. So they help to create like the pacing or the rhythm of a story. So short paragraphs may quicken the pace and create tension or excitement. So if you are trying to write a prose and you are trying to increase the pace of the prose or to increase tension, you could use short paragraphs. So short paragraphs are usually used to quicken the pace or to create tension or excitement, while longer paragraphs can slow things down, offering room for reflection or description. So with these two types of paragraph, writers can manipulate the length of paragraphs to help them control how the story would unfold. So as I said, it's important to note short paragraphs are used to quicken the pace or create tension, while longer paragraphs are used to allow for deeper reflection or clear descriptions. So the next importance of paragraph is it helps to give fictional context. It helps to give fictional context. So a new paragraph is often used to signify a change in action or when a new character begins speaking. So this helps to keep the narrative clear and prevent confusion. So also paragraphs can help to manage emotional beats. So within a story, it can help to highlight key moments or transition. So I'll say paragraphs, they are like road speed breakers. Yeah, they're like speed breakers, giving you bumps to new ideas. So when you meet a new paragraph, probably you're trying to talk about something new or something like a new scene or a new idea is about to be talked about. So also paragraph helps to improve readability. So they help to contribute to visual layout of text, and they make it um, more readable. So if just imagine you had a story book and there were no paragraphs at all, everything was just one single line of text from beginning to end, the whole page, there is no paragraph at all. It could be overwhelming sometimes to read. So paragraphs, they help to improve readability and help the readers consume the information much easily or easier. So they help readers to absorb information in smaller digestible portions. So in short, the structure of paragraphs in prose is essential for managing pacing, readability, and for the organization of ideas. So writers use paragraphs strategically to make the narratives more engaging and easier to follow. So now, let's discuss about chapters. So we've talked about paragraphs, and let's talk about chapters in prose writing. So chapters are known as major dividers. They are used to divide a long prose work into sections. So they help to organize the plots and maintain pacing. So chapters do something similar to what paragraphs do, but now they are kind of different because they kind of contain several paragraphs. So their chapters are made up of several paragraphs, and they are used to divide long prose works into several sections. So as I said, they are used to organize the plot and maintain pacing. So some of the key functions of chapters are organizing the plot, same thing like paragraphs. For paragraphs, they organize the narrative, but for chapters, they try to organize the plot. They try to also control pacing, similar to how paragraphs do. They also help to shift setting, also for timing and for character viewpoints. So chapters try to provide a convenient way that that can help to shift or to allow for shifts in the story. If the setting changes, you can use a chapter to allow to indicate that there's a shift in setting. If you can remember maybe one of the proses you've read, you notice that probably in the previous story they were talking about something, then in the new chapter they would now probably try to change the setting, start from probably another new character or from another angle of the same story. So that's what chapters rather help to do. They help to give a new viewpoint or shift the setting or timing. So another function of chapters is reader engagement. So chapters try to offer reader a kind of mental break, so you can be like, okay, I've read this chapter and I can stop now because I think a major idea has been taught, so I can assimilate what has been done, and maybe after on I could go on to the next chapter because I would not be missing any, or I would not be losing any track of idea that's supposed to have gotten in the previous chapter. So chapters are usually like a form of mental break. So for long works, it is essential because it prevents the reader from feeling overwhelmed. So that's what one of the use of chapters. So the length and the structure of chapters also cater for different reading speeds and preferences. So this is why some readers may prefer short, punchy chapters, while others may enjoy long or something like other immersive kinds of chapters, like longer, deeper chapters. So another function of chapter is for cliff managers or cliffhangers. Sorry, they serve as cliffhangers. So they can be used to create suspense, and that's in the sense of cliffhanger. They can be used to create suspense and to encourage the readers to continue. So the end of chapters, they usually put stops that are known as cliffhangers. So each chapter would always kind of end with a kind of cliffhangers. So this is a classic narrative technique that is used by writers to keep the readers engaged. So a well-placed cliffhanger can provoke curiosity and also help to elevate emotional engagement with the story. It can help the readers have this kind of what next feeling. So ultimately, chapters they are used by writers to and provide like splits in a particular long story, and they can be used to divide the narrative logically and for controlling of pace and guiding the reader's emotional experience. So they create a structure and they provide natural breaks. So I'm just trying to give like an overview of what chapters do. So, and they often build tension and enhance the reader's experience. So next we'll be moving to class engagements prompts. So let's see. Let me try to see how we could engage or make this class a little bit more engaging. So moving on, we have some class engaging prompts that would encourage us to reflect on the concepts we've just discussed. So number one will be, which prose form appeals to you the most and why? So which of these prose form appeals to you guys the most, and why does it appeal to you? So this question, why I'm giving, this is something that you would do like by yourself. So this question is done. I wrote out this question so as it can help you to think about your personal preference in literature. So for you to know whether you prefer short, intense nature of a short story, or if you are drawn to longer stories or more complex narratives found in novels. Can help you. This question is going to help you understand the types of prose that can help identify what kind of prose resonates most with your own tastes as a reader or even as a writer. So just think about it. Which prose appeals more to you? Which of these types of prose appeals the most to you? After you've done that, I would like people to also think of the next question that is saying, can a memoir include fictional elements? So it's subject for thinking. So can a memoir include fictional elements? So I'd like you guys to reflect on that and try to find out. So that being said, I would like to clarify first, after you've done your own personal studies, it's important to know that memoirs are typically non-fiction, so they do not contain fictional elements. They are non-fictions, they are usually real life, but many memoirs can contain elements that are for reconstructions or dramatization. So writers may use certain fictional techniques to tell their stories more engagingly, but how far can they go would be dependent on the writer, because if you start going into more of fiction, you're no longer writing a memoir type of prose. So if you start going deeper into fictions, you are deviating from the type of prose that you probably might have been told to write. I'm telling you guys this because some of you might have jobs of being content writers for special publishers, and they might tell you to write stuff that are more of a memoir. So when you hear that it's a memoir, they are trying to tell you should make it as least fictional as possible. So that being said, I would like to know what happens if a story skips exposition and starts with the climax. What if a story, like, in plot structure we said usually it would always start from exposition. So what if a story should happen to just skip the exposition phase and just jump straight into the climax? So it's not really nice. So while it could be used to create an immediate sense of urgency or suspense, it may also leave the readers confused. So it's important that these structures of prose should be kept, because each of these portion of in the structure, they are very necessary. The climax has its purpose, and also the exposition has its purpose as well. The exposition would help to delete all probably ambiguity that could have happened, all forms of ambiguity. The exposition can help you to eliminate those kinds of scenarios. So now, in summary, let us conclude because I think we are done with this lesson. So let's conclude with a quick summary of what we've done so far. So first off, from the beginning, I said prose. They include a variety of forms such as short stories, novels, novellas, memoirs, and several others. Yeah, but that biography and the rest I mentioned. So each of these forms have their unique characteristics that distinguish them from one another in terms of length, focus, and structure. So by understanding the differences between these forms of prose, we can better appreciate the crafts behind the writing and also recognize what appeals to us as readers. So in this lesson, we also looked at how plots follows a clear structure, beginning with the exposition, then next the rise in action, then we'll get to the climax of the plot, then jump into the falling action and the resolution. So this structure helps to understand how a story develops and ensures that the conflict is resolved in a way that feels satisfying to the reader. So just imagine a story that's probably you were reading and they skipped one of these portions. Maybe they skipped the falling action. Just from the climax, they jumped into the resolution. It's a bit like as if it did not end well. The story did not end well. They just took us suspense, and all of a sudden they just jumped. Everything has been resolved. It did not end well. They did not really descend properly. So these are why each of these portions of the plot structures are necessary. So also in this lesson we talked about paragraphs, and we said in prose they are vital for organizing ideas, controlling and pacing the narratives of the story, and that they are also used to improve the readability. So we also talked about chapters and saying that chapters they help to break up long proses into different sections. Pardon me, into different sections, making them easier for the readers to read and provide a natural pause for reader. So we also said that chapters allows readers to write. They also allow writers to shift settings, time, and also viewpoints while keeping the readers engaged through suspense and character development. So by if we've really paid attention to the entire lesson and we've been able to grasp these elements of prose, by now you will not be only able to become a better writer, but also you would have gained a deeper understanding of how narratives of stories are being constructed. And I think it should help you become better writers and also better readers of proses. So thank you all for your attention throughout this session, and I'll say do have a lovely day. Bye.